Today I have some new Dollar Tree fall DIYs to share with you. If you enjoy easy DIYs, budget decor, I hope that you have hit that subscribe button. If you are new, welcome. My name is Jennifer and this is a little bit of Calm and Crazy. I would like to thank Cricut for sponsoring today's video. Now let's jump right on into these projects. For this project, I'm using a couple of these Dollar Tree houses and some scrapbook paper. To begin with, I am going to separate the house frame from the backing. So I like to always go in and score along the paper first. I find that that's a little bit easier. And then I just go in with my thumbs and I press gently around the edges until the backing starts separating from the frame itself. Sometimes you might have to go back in with like your craft knife in order to separate the paper if you didn't get it all the way separated to begin with. But if you just keep pressing, I promise the backing will separate from the frame. You're gonna go ahead and remove any of the loose paper. After that, you're gonna sand it smooth. I like to go in with a 220 grit sandpaper in order to do that. It doesn't have to be perfect, you just wanna get it as smooth as possible. I'm using a 60 grit sandpaper in order to sand the house itself and get off any of the extra paper that would be poking through or showing on that. And I make sure that I do this to both of the houses, on the backing as well as the house frame itself, because you are going to go in and you're going to add a new backing and be reapplying these, and so you want to make sure that you are doing a really good job prepping before you do the next step. So I'm applying a thin coat of Mod Podge to the backing of my houses, and I have pre-cut my scrapbook paper very roughly so it is just slightly larger than the backing of the houses. With your Mod Podge, make sure that it is a thin coat. And then you're gonna take your paper, place it on it, and then use the palm of your hands and brush it or push it out towards the edges. I like using my hands because I can feel for everything. They're like my favorite tools for doing this, and I find that I don't end up with wrinkles, bumps, and lumps. I chose to put a pattern paper on the taller skinny house and a more solid one on the shorter squatty house because that's when I'm going in with the image in just a moment. After your Mod Podge has completely dried, then you can go ahead and remove your paper. I like to do it by using some sandpaper. I take the sandpaper and I take it from the top to the bottom by kind of just curling it over, and it removes the edges so beautifully. This is my favorite way to do it, but if you have a different way, by all means, you do your favorite way. So I am going to use Cricut Design Space in order to decorate my house, and you guys have been asking me for a while to show you how I do this. So I start off by choosing a new project, and that will take me straight to the mat. The first thing I do when I'm designing an image is I go and I pick a square, and this will give me the parameters that I'm working with. I unlock it because I need a rectangle and not a square, and then I can size it to the size that I need. After that, I go ahead and I adjust the color to a lighter color so that it's easier to see everything that I place on top of it as I'm working. From here, I'm going to go ahead and start with the text by clicking on the little text icon, and the text box will come up. You have a couple choices. You can either go ahead and type in what you want to and then pick a font, or you can pick a font and then type what you want. The A is letting you know that's part of the Cricut Design Space membership. Once I have picked the font that I want, I chose a script font. I need to, or I want to, have my letters touching. So I'm going to go up to the letter spacing and hit that down arrow to group my letters together. This will get them pretty close but not exact. So I like to zoom in so I can really see some things, and then I go to the top right corner where it says ungroup, and then I can move the letters around freely and get everything exactly where I want them and the way that I want them. After that, because I'm using a script, I highlight everything and I go to the bottom right and I hit weld so that the scripty letters will connect and make one solid word. If I was not using a script, I could use either group or attached. Now I just moved that to my template, and I'm going to go into images and I am going to look at the different pumpkins and pick a pumpkin. I like this pumpkin, so I'm going to select that. Again, I can ungroup it. It has the stem as well as the pumpkin. I can alter these. I can leave them. I can unlock it. I can make my pumpkin white or fat or taller. So many things you can do by just unlocking that pumpkin. I very seldom leave an image the way it is. I normally do adjust it. From here, I just play with the image until I get what I want. And by using that rectangle as my parameters, I know that I'm not going to have something that is going to be either too large or too small for where it is going. And so using that rectangle is a very helpful tool as I'm laying everything out. Once I am satisfied, I pull that box away and I just delete it because I don't need that box. After that, I go ahead and highlight everything, go to the bottom right corner, and I hit that attach button because I want to do this in one single layer. I'm cutting everything in the same color of vinyl, and if you're beginning, that is honestly the easiest thing to do. From here, I am ready to go ahead and click Make It, and that will take me to the cutting mat. From there, I click Continue, and because I keep my machine set on custom, I actually get to choose the material in Design Space that I am cutting with. In this case, I'm actually using Cricut's premium vinyl. So I go ahead, I place it on my mat and just begin cutting. It really is so simple. So if you still have your Cricut in the box, get it out. If you're thinking about getting a Cricut, really consider it. I know it's an investment, but you guys, I've gotten my money's worth out of it more times than I can even tell you. After I'm done cutting it, I go ahead and pull out the vinyl that I don't need, which is called weeding. And then I just place a transfer sheet on top, which is just like a clear sheet. Cricut's transfer sheets are really good. You can use them multiple times. Once that's on there, I flip the mat over in order to peel the image off. I make sure that the image is really well on that transfer sheet. So I like to actually rub it on the back. Then, oh, it's so satisfying when that comes apart. And now it's ready to be placed on the back of my house. So I line it up where I want it, make sure it is exactly where I want it, rub it on using my little varnishing tool, peel back that transfer tape, and voila. It is done. I absolutely love this. I love how this orange pops against this like blue and green. I think it looks beautiful. Now it's time to go ahead and reassemble the houses. In order to do that, I'm just using some wood glue. So I put wood glue around the frame of the house and set it back. I do that to both houses. And then I just put the piece of wood on top and then something heavy to make sure that sets up and dries. Once that is dried, I'm putting the two houses together again using some wood glue. This time I did need to go in with some clamps to hold them together while that dried. And now this project is done, and I think it is so adorable, and it really was so easy to do. I wanted to take that exact same design but put it on a shirt. So let me show you how I did that. I went right back into Design Space to that exact same image, but I made it larger just by dragging it and making it bigger. Again, you could change the width and the height if you wanted to, but I didn't bother with that. I left that box locked. Now, when you're dealing with two things to remember with iron-on vinyl. First, you want to make sure that the shiny side is down because the transfer sheet is part of it. It comes with it. And the second is that you are going to actually cut in the mirror image. In Design Space, it actually gives you two different chances to make sure that you are doing it. First, it's when you go to say, make it. It will tell you on the left-hand side, you can slide a little button over that says mirror image, or after you select what material you are using, it will remind you again to make sure that you are choosing the mirror image. And that's how I did it this time. I went ahead, I chose the iron-on vinyl, then I did the mirror image, which is just the flipped image, of course, and then I was able and ready to cut. And again, you're just gonna pull off the vinyl that you aren't using, the excess vinyl, you're gonna weed it. Now, iron-on vinyl is not sticky, it's actually the transfer paper that is the sticky part of this. The vinyl itself is actually more kind of rubbery. That's the best way I know how to describe it. I will say getting the right tools for the job is definitely something I would look into. I like to use this little pokey hook looking thing that Cricut has. That is like my favorite tool, but everyone kind of figures out what their favorite tool is, so you might want to play around with it. Making shirts is one of my favorite things to do, and it really is so simple. So on Cricut's website, they actually will tell you everything you need to know with what fabric you're using, what temperature to set things at when you're using like the iron, or if you're using the Easy Press 2 like I am. Let me tell you, once I started using the Easy Press 2, it was life-changing for me. So you place it on your fabric. This is a pre-washed t-shirt. You can get t-shirts at the Dollar Tree. I did grab this one at Walmart. It is a fitted female t-shirt, and I thought it was a great color for fall. Anyway, you place the iron on for 5 seconds, and that helps to heat things up, but it also gets any moisture out that might be there so that you have the best assurance of getting that iron-on vinyl to stick. After that, you just go ahead and lay the iron-on vinyl on, and then whatever temperature and time it told you to do, that's what you're gonna do. Because I'm using the everyday iron-on, I'm putting it down, it's at 315, I'm putting it on for 30 seconds, light pressure with my hands. Afterwards, I flip it over, I do another 15 seconds, make sure that the transfer tape is cool enough that I can touch it, then remove it, and voila, it is done. And this is the cutest t-shirt for fall. I absolutely love it. This is such a cute and easy project, and it comes together so fast. So you're gonna start off with one of these frames that has a corrugated tin inside. Using a screwdriver, you're just gonna remove that clip. You can save it and use it later. And then you're gonna open up the frame. The only part that we're using from this is that corrugated piece, actually saving the frame for another project. Once I was done with that, I went in with Waverly's chalk paint and white, and I painted out one of those little crates, both the outside and the inside. And I also painted 4 dowel rods in that Waverly white as well. When the paint dried, it was now time to start assembling this cute little stand. So in order to do it quick, I'm using a combination of super glue and wood glue. So I am taking super glue on the very end of the dowel rod, and then just a tiny dot where the dowel rod would come in contact at the top of the crate, and then I'm using wood glue along the side of the dowel rod. And I'm just placing the dowel rod, one dowel rod in each corner. I hope that makes sense as you're seeing it, but just a little bit of super glue to kind of hold it in place as the wood glue is drying. I also used the super glue in order to attach the bottom or the dowels to the metal roof. I just did a little dot of super glue on the top of each dowel, flipped it over, stuck it on the roof. That way I knew it was lining up the way I wanted it to, left it alone while I was setting up, and then this was done and ready for the next step. So here I have one of the larger popsicle sticks that you can get from the Dollar Tree. I'm just snipping off the ends to get rid of that curve. These are some miter shears that I picked up on Amazon. They're fantastic for cutting little pieces of wood. Once I did that, I went in with Waverly's chalk paint and white, mixed with a little bit of water, and gave it a little whitewash. While that was drying, it was time to go ahead and create my sign using Cricut Design Space. Once I get to my mat, I'm going to click the text icon, type in what I want. In this case, it is Farm Fresh. Then I'm going to head up to choose a font. Because I know what font I want the 4 Season font. I love that font. I'm going to go ahead and select that or type it in. And then I can go up, size it to what I want, then click Make It on the top right corner. Once I get there, and it takes me over to where I'm cutting, I can drag that around. If you've ever had a mat that is not very sticky anymore on that top left corner and you want to use a stickier area, you can drag whatever you're cutting around. So I'm gonna put that in the bottom left corner. I go ahead and do continue. I pick what I'm using, which is the premium vinyl, and then I can cut. I take the Farm Fresh, weed it, and then place it on the popsicle stick. After that, I just hot glue the popsicle stick straight onto my little stand. How cute is this for fall? Imagine what it will look like for Christmas, and my daughter says it would make a really cute lemonade stand as well. Here is another super simple fall project that will only take a few minutes to put it together. So starting with a couple of small picture frames, I happen to have these. I just take them apart because all I need is the actual frame itself. Don't feel like you need to use these picture frames. Any smaller picture frames will do. So I have a couple of these wooden pieces from Dollar Tree. I went ahead and filled in the holes so that they would not be showing. And then I took some truffle and I did a stem of the pumpkin. And I started by mixing a little bit of truffle with pumpkin. These are Waverly chalk paints. But then I decided to go ahead and mix a little bit of that Merlot with the pumpkin. And I loved that reddy orange color that I got. I thought that looked really good. I decided to do the same thing on the leaf, but this time just add in a little bit of orange with that red because again, I like that I was getting that contrast. I wasn't getting such a deep burgundy color. I was getting a little bit of that orange underlining color on the leaf, and I thought it was really pretty. Again, I used truffle on the stem of the leaf as well. When the paint dried, I went in with a 220 grit sandpaper and gave it a light sanding kind of in the center and a heavier sanding on the edges just to add a little bit more depth and dimension, and I wanted to bring some of that natural wood back, especially on those edges. After that, it was time to start assembling everything. So I do have some scrapbook paper that fits right inside of the picture frame. I am not gluing anything. I'm just stacking it all inside the frame and then closing the frame up. Once I have everything back in the frame and the frame closed up, now it's time to head over to Design Space and design what I want to go actually on the pumpkin and the leaf. So in this case, I'm typing out 2 words and they are stacking on top of each other, and I want to show you how to get them centered like you would if you were in a Word document. So you're going to go up to the top and you're going to select More, and that's where you see a line and you can do left, center, or right. Of course, I'm going to choose center, and then I'm going to choose the font I want. Again, I'm going to go with 4 Seasons. Here I chose Autumn Skies and Pumpkin Pies. But actually, I think it would be cuter if it said Autumn Leaves and Pumpkin Please. I don't know why I didn't think about that in the process, but I didn't. But I did include that for you if you click on the link down below, so you can do what I wish I had done. Anytime I have a set of words that I want to match up with another set of words, I get the first set of words exactly to the size that I want. Then I go up to the top right corner, hit duplicate. It will duplicate that first set of words. I delete everything that's in that text box and then type in the next set of words, and it will be exactly the same size that I need it to be. If you get to the mat and you feel like your words are too close, again, you can drag one set of those over so that you have a little bit more room before you go to cut. Then go ahead and cut it, and then you can apply these to your leaf and your pumpkin, and voila, how adorable and easy is this? Make sure to check out these videos if you are looking for some more fall inspiration. Did you learn a new tip or trick today? If so, let me know that in the comments below. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.